This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, and welcome to the CVRD 2025 budget overview. The Cowichan Valley Regional District has 4 municipalities and 9 electoral areas. For 2025, we have 178 services. There are a number of competing challenges and expectations that the board must balance when setting the 2025 budget, including how to meet the needs of the public under increasing financial constraints. Increased downloading from other levels of government results in increasing pressures to provide additional services. Aging infrastructure and increasing construction costs. Legislative changes and higher requirements of standard of care that put increasing cost pressures on existing assets. And increasing non-controllable expenditures such as hydro and insurance. The CVRD provides a variety of services to different partners, and therefore the impact of our budgeting process on each electoral area or municipality is different. For example, the cost of the average home in electoral area A, which provides 41 functions, is $1,690.57. And area A also has 5 specified area services encompassing a variety of services such as street lighting, drainage, and fire protection. To complicate matters, some services are provided directly by the CVRD, others in partnership with or other organizations, and some take the form of grants to organizations that provide the service in the area. The CVRD does not provide education, sidewalks, curbs, gutters, roads, policing, healthcare, or highways. These are provincial services or municipality. For most of our services, taxation is allocated based on assessed value. Each member municipality and electoral area's share is calculated based on assessed values that are provided by BC Assessment, and within this distribution between property classes is determined used a fixed ratio that is mandated under provincial legislation. Requisition represents almost 38% of the total revenue for 2024. The funding for each service is determined in the establishment bylaw, and with so many services, there are a wide variety of funding mixes used. We can, however, broadly recognize the main categories for service funding as regional, electoral area, sub-regional, and specified area. Regional services are funded on assessment from all 13 jurisdictions within the regional district and are typically services that benefit the entire region, such as solid waste or general government. Electoral area services are specific to the rural areas only, and therefore shared by all participating electoral areas on an assessment basis with no municipality funding. An example of this is community planning, where the CVRD performs the function for the electoral areas but not the municipalities. The X on the chart indicates that the entire area participates, while the O is a portion of the area. Many of our services are sub-regional in nature, as in that they provide a service to certain areas within the CVRD, and the funding is shared by those participating partners, normally on assessment basis. An example of this is transit. Specified areas are set up to fund services that are provided to a number of properties that do not represent the entire electoral area and are different in that those functions are established in response to petition by property owners to provide the service. A service area is established to encompass the properties that receive the service, such as fire services. While taxation is a major component of the CVRD's revenue base, the CVRD has a few other revenue streams. Non-taxation revenue streams that are considered to be part of the budget process include user fees and charges, which comes from curbside water and sewer, permit fees and licensing fees that comes from building permits and subdivision fees, reserve funds. The CVRD accumulates operating reserves to protect against variances and unexpected expenditures from year to year, and capital reserves for the long-term asset management needs. Grants, where possible, projects are funded through the use of grants, and proceeds of borrowing. Borrowing can only be used for capital purchases. The CVRD, as in recent years, taken advantage of the low interest rates to borrow short-term in order to fund capital purchases, but also borrows for larger long-term capital projects. As mentioned, services funded with other revenue sources include the Community Health Network, municipality MFA debt, curbside garbage and recycling services, sewer, water, and some street lighting and drainage. The current budget approach is incremental, meaning that the current activities and staffing levels are considered as core and uses a baseline for the upcoming budget. This approach uses core expenditures as the basis for the preparation of the draft budget, with requests to changes to existing service levels being treated as supplemental requests to the Commission and committee meetings for their consideration. Core expenditures are defined as those that are required to maintain the current levels of staffing, services, and capital, including reallocation of resources within operational budgets that do not require the increase in requisition. Supplemental requests for the purpose of budgeting are defined as those items that are additions to current staffing and/or service levels, and any capital that requires an increase in requisition or user fees. This includes purchases or construction of new capital, the addition of part and full-time staffing positions, and changes to programs or services requiring increases to the user fee or requisitions. For the 2025 budget, staff received a mandate from the board. The mandate was to maintain current levels of core services, but explore opportunities for cost efficiencies. The board has had budget meetings in 2024 and has considered all capital investment and service enhancement requests. With the decisions made to date, the increase cost per 100,000 ranges from $2.91 up to $29.62. At the board meeting on January 22nd of 2025, the board will review all the decisions that have been made to the budget before the 5-year financial plan is brought forward in February. The increase to requisition is discussed as a total number. However, as mentioned previously, the effects on individual properties varies based on the number of factors, including property assessment and property location. Only the participants in the service area contribute to the cost of providing those services. This slide shows the impact on each municipality and electoral area of the proposed 2025 budget. Across the entire Cowichan Valley Regional District, the largest changes are for the general government, Vancouver Island Regional Library, electoral area services, solid waste management, transit, and regional recreation, which is offset by decreases to the Cowichan Community Centre, Kerry Park Recreation, Shawnigan Lake Community Centre, and the Cowichan Lake Recreation. In Area A, the average home will see an increase of $182.86. This chart, which is available on the CVRD website, shows how the tax requisition is broken down by function. Area B will see an increase of $174.36. Area C will see an increase of $196.08. Area D will see an increase of $70.13. Area E will see an increase of $86.58. Area F will see an increase of $26.26. Area G will see an increase of $115.74. Area H will see an increase of $132.55. Area I will see an increase of $31.39. City of Duncan will see an increase of $51.87. North Cowichan North End will see an increase of $193.13. North Cowichan South End will see an increase of $55.74. Town of Ladysmith will see an increase of $205.80. And Town of Lake Cowichan will see an increase of $111.83. How will a change in your assessment affect your property taxes? If your assessed value is lower than the average, your property taxes will be lower. If your assessment is higher than the average, your property taxes will be higher. The most important factor is not how much your assessment value has changed, but how is it changed compared to the average in your property class. And here's a video at YouTube that's put up by BC Assessment that explains this process. More information can be found on the CVRD website, and here is the location. A number of detailed schedules are available on the CVRD website, providing total budget information as well as detailed financial information on each of the services. The majority of the schedules look at the changes of property taxes. Parcel tax information is provided in separate schedules. Schedule A presents the changes in tax requisition. It only shows the services that have a change and details the amount of the change for that service. Down at the bottom is the total difference between the general tax requisition of 2024 and that of 2025. This does not include the change for local area services, which affect only specifically defined areas. Schedule B shows a change in tax requisition by jurisdiction. The change due to the jurisdiction column reflects the increase in the library requisition. Also, down at the bottom is the increase in local service area taxes, such as fire service areas. Schedule C shows a change in requisition going back to 2018. Schedule D has a page for each jurisdiction. It lists only the services that the area participates in and shows a change for that service. Down at the bottom, it includes the local service area tax applicable for that jurisdiction and the change in those as well. Schedule E also has a page for each jurisdiction and shows the impact of the average home for that area. Schedule F shows assessment by jurisdiction for 3 years. The 2024 completed roll is used for the 2025 budget. Schedule G shows how the requisition for an area is split between the property classes, and there's one for each jurisdiction. Schedule H shows the cost for a $100,000 home and shows the portion of the total assessed represented by each area. Parcel taxes for sewer and water systems are shown on Schedule I, and user fees for sewer and water systems on Schedule J. It is important to note that the increase in parcel tax or user fees for a service does not necessarily mean an increase in the property owner. In many cases, new properties have been added to the service areas, thus increasing the total amount collected without having an impact on individual properties. These are the detailed schedules available on our website. We also have more specific details on individual services. For each service, there is a summary sheet. It gives a description of the service, lists the amount that has been requisitioned for 2025, the maximum amount that can be requisitioned if applicable, and shows the split between the participating areas. This is followed by the proposed 5-year financial plan for the function. And lastly is the budget detail from our accounting software showing the actual expenses for 2022 and 2023, the budget for 2024, and the proposed 2025. All of this is available on our website to provide as much information as possible. And thank you.